For today's double review, we end 2023 with the Metroidvania cookie cutter and bring in 2024 with the Metroidvania Momodora Moonlit Farewell. Cookie Cutter takes us to a dystopic future where most of humanity has been turned into cyborgs known as Denzels. We play as Cherry, who, when her creator and lover is kidnapped by the big bad corporation, decides to go on a very rage and violent rampage to try and save her and maybe save the future along the way. This one goes over the top times 10, and I can tell you right away, this is not going to be the game for kids in terms of a lot of the violence and aesthetics here. But the animation and art style are incredibly well done. Some of the finishers are just brutal, and some are just quite hilarious to look at. In terms of our Metroidvania gameplay, this one is kind of similar to that of Guacamelee, in that you're going to be focusing a lot on punching and close range combat, with of course a healthy mix of movement tech that you'll need to find secrets and just make general progression. When you're doing combat, you have access to a normal attack, a kind of item or secondary, and you'll also unlock kind of special powers that all use part of her kind of special gauge, and this recharges by beating up enemies and performing parries. Parries are a very important aspect of Cookie Cutter, as you can use this to trivialize some of the more annoying enemy encounters. Most minor enemies just need to be parried once in order to kill them, while other enemies may take multiple parries to set them up for the finisher. Now this becomes a big deal as the enemies certainly run the gambit of melee and range, flying and ground, summoners, and all that. The world design here, I would say, is probably the weaker aspect of Cookie Cutter. This is one of those games where you'll get an objective in one corner of the map, to then go the long way to another corner of the map, to then be told to go back to another part of the map, to then be told, oh wait, you need an item, go back to this other map, to then come back over here. And it is definitely a Metroidvania where I think it could have used a few more fast travel points, especially once you're getting to like the mid and late game portions. Movement and combat felt good for the most part, but combat does have this issue when it comes to clarity. You see, enemies will give you a warning when they're about to attack, but the warning itself is only to let you know when an attack is parable. It's not the actual attack warning itself. And some of the animations can be very fast, and some can be a little hard to follow in terms of when is the right time to do the parry. And enemies in this game hurt. When you start the Cookie Cutter up, you have a default health pool of 100 points. That 100 is not going to do it in this game. Some of the later enemies and bosses can easily do 80 to 100 points of damage in a single hit. And you must get the upgrades for health and for your damage if you really want to stand a chance. From what I could tell, the bosses or most of the boss fights do not allow you to parry them. And this can lead to some of these fights feeling a little bit more health spongy than I think they need to be. And some of this is also compounded by a few other details of the combat. You cannot really parry or have a lot of defensive moves in the air, and this game loves to throw these annoying bugs that can shoot bullets at you, and they're very hard to get close and hit. And healing in this game is, well, to put it mildly, horrible. It's very slow, it's very delayed, and you really can't use it in combat unless the enemy is completely on the other end of the side of the screen, and even then you're not going to heal all the way up. And this was even when I equipped the passive that is supposed to increase the speed of your healing. So once you start taking too much damage, there really isn't too much you can do to get away from that, other than just be more aggressive and hopefully kill the enemy in time. All in all, Cookie Cutter is a good Metroidvania. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more growth in terms of combat. The movement tech is really well done, and some of the later sections do get very challenging and technical with it. The game does end with a serious dose of either sequel or DLC bait, and I'm wondering if we will see a true conclusion to it. But this is definitely the Metroidvania if you're looking for one that is more combat-centric than anything else. And if you're looking for a whole lot of punk and violence to go on top of that, then you should check this one out. We now switch to our first Metroidvania of 2024 with Momodora Moonlit Farewell. This is, I believe, the 5th game in the Momodora series, and by the title, this could be the last one from developers, and I hope not the last game from them. We once again play as the priestess Momo, who is trying to figure out why a mysterious bell has been rung, demons are swarming the land, and her and her sister have to go on one final mission in order to bring peace back to the world. The game continues the aesthetic of very beautiful pixel art with some fantastic music to go around with it. If you missed the previous Momodoras, this is a, once again, very combat-centric Metroidvania with some movement tech to go with it. Enemies in this game hurt. They really do. Even the most common enemies can destroy your health bar within a few seconds or a few hits, let alone some of the heavier and nastier fights. As you explore the world, you will of course unlock new movement abilities, find little side quests here and there, and get health and damage upgrades. One major change to Moonlit Farewell compared to the previous games is that the kind of item artifact system, where you could equip several items to change your passives and your general abilities, has been replaced with a sigil system. As you explore the world, you'll find sigils that you can equip to Momo to change or modify her attack behavior or some of the general passives. And this is where Moonlit Farewell tries to, I guess, give you a little bit more customization, as each one you equip can either supplement your ability, give you a great advantage at a downside, or just, again, be there to give you more of a quote-unquote build that you can use. Now here's the interesting point. If you're a longtime fan of Momodora, Moonlit Farewell, at least on the normal difficulty, is far and away the easiest game of the series, including Minoria. And if you did play the previous games, it is going to feel like a walk in the park for you, thanks to the ability to have access to easy healing, the sigil system, and of course the numerous checkpoints. If you're completely new to Momodora, this is still going to be on the challenging side for you until you get used to how the dodging and general play work. All in all, the game is pretty great. I did wish for, I think, a little bit more advanced challenges, at least in the normal run. When you beat the game, you unlock a range mode, which shovels up enemies and adds new stuff to it, and there's also hardcore difficulty, where you only have a single save in order to beat the game. If you die, you lose all your progress. So there is definitely a lot of bite there, but for the general play, this feels more like a victory lap than rather trying to do anything completely new and innovative with the design. But still, if you are a fan of Momodora and looking for yet another combat-centric Metroidvania, this is a fantastic one to start your year with, and if you want more bite to your Momodora, then be sure to check out the previous games, as you'll find plenty of it there. And with that, we're going to end these reviews here. Both games were played with retail keys, so if you let me tickle your game for a future stream and video, please reach out. Let me know what you think of these Metroidvanias down below, and I will see everyone next time. That's going to do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to do the YouTubing stuff people will tell you to do. If you're interested in more of my thoughts on design, check out my books wherever they are sold. Visit our Discord and Patreon, and come back for daily discussions on game design here, and on game wisdom, where you some of the art and science of games.